We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hello and welcome to the 90s cast. This is Eric.
And this is Tig.
This is our 120 episode journey through the 1990s, where week to week we advance forward a month. We are now in February of 1992, where we're going to talk about all sorts of pop culture and nerdy and geeky stuff from the 90s. This week we're going to be talking about some music from February of 1992, including a little guy called Sir Mix-a-Lot, along with Pantera, TLC, and a couple other records. We'll also be doing some viewer mail at the end of the segment. And in our next segment, we'll be talking about a movie that was, a little bit popular, Wayne's World.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
Wayne's World!
Wayne's World!
Party time!
Party time!
Excellent! So, that should be pretty fun, right?
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I figured that you would be. I figured of all the things that we'd be talking about, you would be into that. Before we get into that stuff, about a little news from February 92.
All right.
You want to go back in time?
I want to go back in time and hear what was going on in the news.
Experience the news. February 5th, 1992, the New Kids on the Block interrupt their tour to perform on the Arsenio Hall show in response to rumors that the group lip syncs its concerts.
Rumors that they lip sync.
So that's like a multifaceted blast from the past, because not only do you have the New Kids on the Block,
Right.
but you get the lip sync stuff
And Arsenio.
and Arsenio Hall,
who was
all
huge
in
at the time.
Oh yeah, Arsenio was super huge at the time.
So I watched this.
Oh yeah.
I went back and did a little bit of research.
Ooh, okay then.
So this was during the time of the big, everyone getting pissed off at people lip syncing, because they'd pay to go to a concert and they'd just watch people dance around on a stage and basically pay to watch people lip sync their favorite singers.
Yeah, Milli Vanilli sort of kicked
style.
that off.
So it sort of become a thing where people were getting pissed off that they had to hear this quote unquote fakeness. So the New Kids on the Block got called out. So they decided, I guess their publicist decided, because let's be honest, they were not in charge of their whatever, and they went on the Arsenio Hall and they sung live 3 songs on Arsenio Hall, if I'm not mistaken.
Excellent.
And it sounded terrible.
Did it?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, the poor guys.
And then they sit down with Arsenio Hall and they talk about being called out for it. And Arsenio is just straight up like busting their balls.
Because he knew they sucked.
Yeah, and he actually went to the point where they played a clip of their original appearance on his show where they are singing, and it's terrible. And then when it comes back, he's literally like kind of like shoving them, like busting their chops, like, look how terrible you guys were live.
Oh man.
And they're real bad live, which is, they're a boy band. Of course, they're terrible live.
And they're meant to be like dancing and putting on a show.
Yeah, and to give them a little bit of, I was a boy, and we were not New Kids on the Block fans,
right,
due to our gender and whatever.
Chinese food makes me sick.
But they are dancing and blah, 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 blah. So you got to give them a little bit of credit, because the fact that they're dancing doesn't make it harder to sing.
Right.
But they sounded terrible.
Right.
So, it is what it is.
So what you're saying is you'll never forgive them.
No, I never forgive them for breaking my heart.
Yeah. Niqab.
Didn't you have the pin on your leather jacket when you were a kid?
Oh, who didn't? Yeah, no, I was not into New Kids, though. I did like NSYNC, who are, of course, the sequel to New Kids.
You liked NSYNC?
I did. Oh, I liked an NSYNC song.
What was it?
Bye, Bye, Bye.
Okay.
Great song.
Bye, Bye, Bye.
Yeah. You may hate me, but it ain't no lie, baby. But plus, NSYNC gave us Justin Timberlake, and Justin Timberlake is awesome.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah. So, and not only Justin Timberlake, but Astronaut Guy.
Who's Astronaut?
I think was it Lance? I think Lance Fanning went into space. And
was Joey Fat One in that band too?
Yeah, Joey Fat One was in that one.
Joey Fat One.
Poor guy. As Michael Stipe said, it's the end of the world as we know it.
And I feel fine.
Come back in a moment. We're going to talk some music.
Wayne's World, it's Wayne's World, and excellent promo, Wayne.
Yes, artistic yet accessible to a wide audience.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
February 14th, 1992, Wayne's World was released. Ended up being a huge hit movie. This, of course, was based on the Saturday Night Live skit by Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. This movie was produced by Lorne Michaels, who everyone knows as
Lorne.
the SNL guy, the main man behind Saturday Night Live. It was directed by Penelope Spheris. Woman director, you don't hear that too often. She is best known as the director of the really fantastic The Decline of Western Civilization series of documentaries, the rock music documentaries. Though, she also directed 1993's Beverly Hillbillies movie. So there you go. That's super exciting, I guess. And in addition to having Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, there were appearances from Rob Lowe, Tia Carrera,
Ed O'Neill,
Chris Farley, Ed O'Neill, Meatloaf, Alice Cooper, and
that's the We're Not Worthy. That's where that comes from.
Yeah, I mean it's this movie was super big. I don't think we need to explain what the hell even Wayne's World was, but just in case, right? Wayne's World was based on their Saturday Night Live skit where it was Wayne and Garth, and they were two sort of rock and roll fans, stoners, who made a public access TV show, Wayne's World, from Wayne's parents' basement.
Yes.
It was essentially, they were YouTubers pre-YouTube.
Yes.
Like, they were just two schmucks.
Public access schmucks.
Yeah. Which really...
they were us.
Do people even know now, like, what public access was?
No, I don't think young people do.
Because it's technically still a thing, but...
Yeah.
But is it?
I mean, do they still allow... I mean, back then, what it was that they had to offer studios with, like, cameras and everything...
Yeah.
...to people a certain amount of... They were allotted a certain amount of time for the public to do their own stuff.
Yeah, so people would create these public access shows. Sometimes there would be music acts, or some people would do cooking shows.
A lot of times there was like church stuff would pop on there and everything, but yeah.
Yeah, and if you go onto YouTube and dive down that rabbit hole of like old public access videos, there's some crazy shit.
Oh god, I used to watch public access when I was in high school.
Oh yeah?
Like 2, 3 in the morning.
Oh, crazy
and it
shit.
was... I still have vivid memories of public access.
Yeah. Yeah, super bizarre stuff.
Because I think you could do anything you wanted as long as there was... You could even curse. But you just weren't allowed to... It couldn't be sexual things.
Yeah, you couldn't violate, like, the FCC
Right,
stuff.
but you could curse, you could do whatever you want, which was weird because you'd be up at 2 in the morning watching somebody just sitting in a room by themselves, dressed weird, cursing with a knife, dancing with a knife.
I do remember, it was all often, like weirdos like who would preach for an hour or like get into like weird like satanic conspiracy stuff and that kind of stuff. So Wayne's World was riffing on like this idea of these public access shows with these two sort of stoners who thought they were rock stars. They'd get on there and Wayne's World, excellent party. Actually, I should go grab my guitar and
you should
play along with that. And somehow this got turned into a movie. I guess.
Well, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess by this point, like, right, movies based on Saturday Night Live properties were already a thing, like big thing?
I think, okay, so...
Or did this launch them?
Now, this was... ironically, that we were talking about this, I think I was telling you off air, that I happened to be listening to the WTF podcast, Mark Maron's podcast, with Mike Myers. And he was talking all about how it started. So... the character was... Oh, what were you going to say? Don't forget there was the Blues Brothers.
Well, that's just it. No, that's based on box office performance. I'm sorry.
The Blues Brothers was like the first Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that was in 1980, but then between 1980 and 1992, when this came out, there were no others.
Yeah, this was the second.
So this really blew them up because then after this, you had Coneheads, you had Wayne's World 2.
Adam Sandler had all his stuff.
Yeah, it's Pat. You had Stewart Saves the Family, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about not movies that SNL stars went on to do, but that are specifically based on SNL skits.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sorry. So, Ged, you were saying that he was talking about how it all got started.
Yeah, so he originally did this character when he was 19 in Canada, because he's from Canada.
Right.
On some Canada show, and I can't remember what it was.
Take off, eh? You hoser.
Oh yeah, hoser. And so when he got on to SNL, he finally got the guts to write. I guess he used to have to hand in scripts in the writing room.
Right.
And he wrote. He said this was a popular character in Canada that he used to do. So he wrote the script. He handed it in. He put it on the pile. A senior writer at 4 a.m. looked at it. Said and he said he vividly remembers the senior writer looked at it, went and put it into the pile on the table where you would have to read it the next day.
Okay, you're
so
right.
he was all excited because he was like, "Oh my god, like they're gonna read this." Then another senior writer picked it up later on, looked at it, and said, "This is crap," and literally tossed it onto the floor. So when they left the room, Michael Myers picked it up off the floor and put it back onto the pile.
That's cheating. He cheated.
And then when the next day came and they were reading the scripts, towards the very end, Lorne Michaels picked it up and said, well, Wayne's World, like what is it, in that Dr. Evil voice that Michael Myers does. And they read it and they all loved it and they did the skit. And the rest is basically history. It became huge popular.
Yeah, it did become really hugely popular. This, I remember Wayne's World, the skit sort of broke during a time when Saturday Night Live was really good.
Yeah, with Dana Carvey and all that. Yeah, it was at that when it started coming back again.
Yeah, it was a great era for it. And Wayne's World was always one of the highlight skits. Especially and it was appropriate because Wayne's World as a skit was getting big during a time when rock and roll was having this comeback.
Right, because Aerosmith was a popular one with them. Where they had an Aerosmith on, and yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they would sometimes get the music guests on. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So the movie, you watched this movie religiously.
Oh my God.
Tell us a little bit about the movie, the plot. How did they manage to take a skit and turn it into a full blown movie?
Well, it ends up becoming where they're just a little show, just like in the SNL skit. But of course, I think it's an arcade guy. A guy who runs an arcade, like a local mogul. Arcade mogul wants to start advertising on their show, from what I remember, and then they try to make the show even bigger and become this huge commercial success. They make them move into a real studio, and they want him to do ads and do all these things, and he ends up meeting a girl and all this, all the antics that go on in between. And
right, yeah, they of course they're Alice Cooper is in it playing himself. Right. There's
gay.
Now my lasting memory of this movie is, and I'm sure, Laura Flynn Boyle was in it too. I didn't notice that.
Laura Flynn Boyle, is that the brunette?
Yes.
That's Wayne's ex-girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one that he's like, you're mental.
Yeah, she's the one.
She buys him a gun rack in the episode.
She went on to date Jack Nicholson, not marry, right? Just date, and she played the villain in one of the Men in Black movies.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, she's Wayne's ex-girlfriend in the movie.
But my lasting memory, and I'm sure this actually will be a lot of people's lasting memory, is the fact that Wayne's World was sort of responsible for bringing Bohemian Rhapsody back to the world.
Yes, he discussed that too, where he had a fight for that song.
He did, yeah.
To be in the movie because the studio wanted a Guns N' Roses song or something that was popular at the time, and he literally told them, "I won't make the movie unless I put that in the movie."
Yeah, and it's I know he was also very concerned. He was very concerned that the members of Queen wouldn't find it insulting. That he wanted to know that they actually approved and thought it was okay.
Right.
But yeah, because the song had kind of, I guess, to some extent fell by the wayside, right?
Yeah, I always heard that the song itself really, it was more popular after Wayne's World than it ever was at any point.
Yeah, Wayne's World strangely made what might be the most ambitious rock song ever written. Sort of brought it to
a wider audience.
Yeah,
I guess
much
you'd
wider
say.
audience. It certainly brought it to a new generation.
Yeah.
I was not listening to Queen
No.
at this time. Queen was not on my radar.
Nope.
I knew who they were, but I thought they were cheesy. You know, We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions.
They were a strange theatrical
Yes.
rock band.
In fact, the last thing that I had known about Queen prior to this was one of their last records. There was all this fanfare. Oh, Queen is back! They're putting out a new record, and the song that I remember seeing the song that they on MTV that they put out, "I Want It All," and it was so bad. I want it all. I want it all. I want it now. Bad. It was bad. I'm sorry, it was bad. And so Queen was just not on my radar. And even at the time when the video came out, and I thought it was like, this is weird.
Yeah, it was very different and strange, but Wayne's World definitely revived.
And now, of course, it's widely hailed as
now they play it all the time on the radio, even still.
Yeah, pretty
But it's one of those movies that it was good. It was a good movie.
It actually, it genuinely was. A lot of times, these SNL people will go on to do a lot of crap.
Yeah.
A lot of really, really bad comedies. But Mike Myers, actually, this kicked off a really good run for him. Like a killer run. Because, of course, this was in 92.
Then he did the second.
Yeah, 93, he did Wayne's World 2, and So I Married an Ex-Murderer.
Which is a cult hit.
Yeah. 97, Austin Powers.
Which was huge.
Yeah.
Whether people nowadays want to go, oh, Austin Powers, it was huge when
definitely.
that came out.
99, the second Austin Powers.
And then the third.
2001, Shrek.
Yeah.
I mean, Shrek is huge. 2002 was the third Austin Powers. Another Shrek in 2003. He was in The Cat in the Hat, apparently.
Oh, he played the Cat in the Hat.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That didn't do very well.
I think that's when he finally started to collapse. Yeah, because then Shrek the Third did alright, but then I think he finally was done with The Love Guru in 08.
Oh yeah, then it got bad.
But
he had a good run.
Yeah, no, he really did. He really did have a good run for a Canadian.
He's pretty. He seems. I listened to like I said on WTF, Mark Maron's podcast, and he seems pretty grounded, like a normal guy.
Yeah.
I know. I've always heard rumors that he's.
I've heard that he's really difficult to work with.
Yeah, and Mark actually brought that up to him.
Oh yeah,
and said he's pretty good. I don't know if you ever listen to his podcast, but he always makes sure to bring up those things, you know.
That's good.
Like the Robin Williams, he'll bring up, like, I heard that you know, it's always been said that you stole people's jokes.
Right.
But he brought it up to Mike Myers about being difficult, and Mike Myers just kind of said, you know, I became really, really famous, and I protected the things that were important to me. So sometimes people have things to say in those situations. So I don't know how, you know.
Maybe. We'll see. I just looked on therichest.com, and while you can only take
richest.com.
While you can only you have to take these with a grain of salt. Well, I'll do a different one since you don't like that website.
I never even heard of the richest.
I'll do a celebrity net worth instead.
Okay, sure.
Apparently Mike Myers' net worth is estimated to be $175 million.
What's Dana Carvey's net worth?
Oh geez, come on.
Being that they're like, you know, forever connected through some sort of weird, like
I'm going to guess
I'm going to say like 35 million.
Oh, look what I did. I just shut down my webpage.
Oh my,
like a jackass.
God.
No, you are way off.
You think it's more?
No, way lower.
Lower than 35 million?
I believe it's going to be
like 5?
15. No,
really?
No, I think yeah.
I'm going to say 35. I'm going to say that international mystery where he plays like a turtle.
I'm going to say it's 15, and it could be as low as between 5 to 7.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, I might even revise my 15 and say it's actually 7. No, I'm going to stick with 15.
Jesus.
So according to Celebrity Net Worth, 20 million. So,
all right, so that's in between what we were basically. I said 35. You said
you
7.
went over. It's the closest without going over.
This is the Price is
Right. And I said
now.
15. So I definitely win. I'm definitely the winner.
Wow, only 20 million.
That means I get to teabag you. Only 20 million.
What a fucking loser.
Wayne's World was a huge success. It debuted at number one. It ended up grossing $121 million, which at the time was pretty damn big. It was the highest grossing film of '92 and the highest of the 11 films based on SNL skits. It's got an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, because it was funny.
Yeah, good average rating of 6.8 out of 10, and still lots of pop culture. A Schwing, and That's What She Said, even though that's been around.
Yeah.
Party On, of course, and
We're Not Worthy.
Yeah, We're Not Worthy, and Not, though that'd been around, too. But yeah.
And A Sphincter Says What?
What?
A Sphincter Says What?
What?
Exactly.
The soundtrack actually reached number one on the Billboard charts.
I believe it.
Yep.
Okay.
And Tia Carrere sang her own vocals on the song she performed in the movies.
Yeah, when he first meets her.
Yeah, she did the real stuff. Actually, a movie from the period probably holds up pretty well.
Yeah, I actually watched it a couple years ago, and it's fine. It doesn't fall into a timepiece, like in the sense where you're like it's not dated. It doesn't feel dated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gotcha. So come back in a moment. We're gonna do a little bit of listener mail. I'm gonna fill you in on what that exciting piece of news that I missed was. Oh, it's super exciting, and we'll do some other housekeeping and stuff like that. We might even have our pants on. We'll be back. So a little bit of listener mail. We're going to go back to our episode number 2, February of 1990.
Wow, I feel like it's been a decade ago.
I know, right? Do you remember what we talked about that episode?
No.
We talked about MC Hammer.
Okay.
Steven, I Am a Rapist Seagal.
Oh, God.
And Super Mario Brothers 3.
Okay. Did we talk about that with Tom Torrey?
No, we did not.
Okay. We did that one on our own?
That is right. So, a Golden Freddy 414 said, "You guys are amazing. You're my fave channel. Keep up the amazing work. Have a great day."
Oh,
that was very nice. I don't think
flattering.
I don't think we've heard from Golden Freddy since then. So
the next podcast wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's that. Oh, and this is a fantastic comment. We got this comment from Donate Memes to Homeless Children, please. This comment is nice video, yay. So that is fantastic. And then Tom Torrey accidentally dropped his keyboard down the stairs and wrote us one of his patented, as he says, type-a-thons.
Oh my God.
Let's see. He says, speaking of food, because we often mention how we're going to talk about food. We haven't done that yet. We will, though. He says, speaking of food, you guys better talk about Magic Middle cookies. Those are the best damn cookies ever, and now they're off the market. God damn it, I want Magic Middles. I never liked Elios, honestly. Bad memories of elementary school lunches.
He must be just something wrong with them.
And I always ended up burning them somehow, so the cheese was like dark brown, and the middle somehow remained frozen. Not sure WTF happened. Tom, what happened was you suck at cooking.
How do you not know how to use a toaster oven?
I mean, it's Elios. Like, what do you... There's not even anything to know.
Elios? There was a reason why people liked Elios, because you couldn't... You didn't have to you could undercook it for all it mattered. Yeah. Just eat it.
Yeah, definitely so.
What's wrong with that guy?
He had some comments on Super Mario Brothers, but whatever. He doesn't... Whatever.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think more importantly, we want his comments on Steven Seagal. No one will ever surpass Steven Seagal as the greatest martial arts master in the world.
Oh my God.
Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris, Jean-Luc Van Damme, Bruce Lee. Seagal was better than all of them. Now I'm thinking about all of his amazing films that I'd love to watch. I can't even begin to list my favorites. Under Siege, possibly one of the greatest films of all time.
What?
This...
Lord.
He is the Martin Scorsese of filmmakers. And... I think, what is this? What is he saying right here? He's also very underrated as being one of the most handsome, good-looking Hollywood hunks ever to star in a major motion picture. I would touch his penis. Chuck Norris for life. Yeah, so I may have misread a little.
Yeah, well, it's hard to read. the computer.
Yeah, you know how it goes. So there you go.
It sounds like Tom though.
Yeah,
Sounds
no,
like something Tom would say.
it sounds a lot. It sounds a lot like him. And he closes off with another epic podcast, which I think he's right. It was an epic podcast.
I agree.
We made fun of Steven Seagal, so
You can't lose with that.
no, you definitely can't lose with that.
It's almost too easy.
Yeah, that's true. Especially these days. So next week, March 1992.
God, we're just flying through.
Yeah, no kidding. Next week is going to be music and movie focused, though we'll have a little tech because we're going to talk about the release of Windows 3.1.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
There's lots of interesting music, including. I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt.
So sexy it hurts.
We have a bunch of movies to talk about, but our main movie is going to be My Cousin Vinny.
The two Utes.
Utes.
Did you say Utes?
Phenomenal movie. Plus a bunch of others. Basic Instinct, White Men Can't Jump, American Me. Plus we'll talk about music like Body Count. Arrested Development.
Oh my God, Body Count.
Yeah, Arrested Development came out with a record then. Plus Crisscross.
Crisscross will make you jump. A Daddy Mac will make you
jump. So yeah, that all that stuff is going to be coming next week.
It's getting better and better, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's going to be the greatest thing
Of all time.
I heard the greatest podcast. Right, where can folks do their finding of us?
They can search through the interwebs and find us on such locations as NERDOUTWITHME.com.
Excellent.
Nerd Out With Me on YouTube. Nerd Out With Me in Facebook. Nerd Out With Me on Twitter. Nerd Out With Me in Google Plus.
You're annoying me. Stop.
Nerd Out With Me on Instagram.
You're bothering me.
Nerd Out With Me on Patreon.
Stop it! You're bothering me. Check out our YouTube channel. Just type in Nerd Out With Me into the search box. It'll come right up. We have all sorts of video content where we look at board games, we look at video games, and we look at toys.
We play with toys.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff like that. And if you go to patreon.com/nerdoutwithme, you will get a second episode each and every week. Every week we record a bonus episode, plus sneak peeks, like you get videos before other people do, and
very strange bonus
videos. Yeah, occasionally we do very strange bonus videos. We would really like to hear from people, so of course you can comment on our YouTube videos or wherever you happen to find this, or you can send us a note at nerdoutwithmeshow@gmail.com. We'd like to read them on the air, and unlike Tom, you won't be victimized by misreading. Help us out, share this thing, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandmother, tell that old bitch to start listening, or I'm coming down and I'm gonna slap the teeth out of her mouth.
I don't understand what this podcast stuff is.
So,
is this Dick Van Dyke?
Listen, old lady, shut up. No more out of you. No more out of you. Fix me a turkey pot pie!
Come on, man.
I've been Eric.
I was Tig.
This is the Nerd Out With Me 90s cast, and thank you for listening. Bye.
Here's a choice of food and drink to satisfy anyone and everyone.